This image, it's cute, the pose is cute. It's not tack sharp at the eyes, so we'll sharpen it a little bit. And we're going to correct your skin, the color tone, and lightening it. You want it to be light right where you can see it. So I'll start with that with curves. So you make the curves, make it a light curve, invert that so we can just paint it on where we want it. See, I'm going to adjust my flow.
Is that you?
No, baby.
Who is that?
I don't know.
What's her name?
I have no idea.
When you took...
I didn't take this.
When you go to work, I want you to tell them what their name is.
Okay, but I didn't take this picture, so I don't know her name, and that's fine. So go ahead and compress this layer. And so we can take a snapshot so we can see before and after as we go. Just lighten it up, brighten it up. The biggest thing with this is just the skin. It's up close. We want to make sure it looks good. Again, I created the skin retouching action, a frequency separation, so you have the texture and the tone in 2 different layers. It's nice sometimes to work with the tone first rather, and then go back and correct any texture that needs it. So we will use the brush tool on the tone layer, get the color we need, and this does not, let's take that back a notch. This does not change the texture at all. The skin still stays exactly like it is. It just evens that color up. And you just keep clicking where you like that color for that area. And just keep evening it out. And so I actually want that over there, right here. And then when you go back, whatever texture needs adjusting, then you go back and adjust that with the clone stamp on the texture layer. A lot of times you can just brush over it, and then you don't really need to do anything.
Joe, can you get me some water?
Now that does most of it. And then you can take care of even, like right here, she's got eyeshadow, but it's not blended really well. You can take care of even that, like right here in Photoshop. Just blend their makeup for them. And so then I go ahead and go to the texture layer. And use that to correct any spots with the texture that we see that need help. And so like any kind of acne or scarring or anything like that, you can clean it up with this. Anything that still shows after you do the tone adjustments. Now when you have it really sharp and you have different types of pores in different areas of the face, this is the perfect action for that because it doesn't change the texture of that part of the face so their skin still looks like skin. And that's what you want, skin to look like skin.
Skin look like skin. Skin look like skin.
Yeah.
Skin look like skin.
Hope you're enjoying my 4-year-old daughter in the background. Eventually she'll be doing these tutorials. And another thing that's fun to do is go on up to their eyes and just very gently, use the brush tool, very gently, actually no, the lighten tool, sorry, on the tone layer. Lighten any of the dark spots, and then use the darkening tool. This is your dodge and burn to burn that edge just a little bit more. Just makes the eyes pop.
Burn look like burn.
Now we've got her face. Go back to the brush tool. When you zoom out, you'll see things that you're like, oh, that needs to be a little more even out. I like to zoom in and out because when you're up close, sometimes you don't see things that you see when you zoom out. And then her arm. Don't forget the skin that's not on their face. Want to make that like real smooth and creamy too. So you zoom back out, and this is what we've done. Let's go ahead and compress that layer. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and adjust the levels and give us a little more contrast. Just pull them in slightly. Take off any of that haze. You can see the before and after of that, what the levels do. Just brightens up that image. Go ahead and compress that. Now, as I was talking about before, the eyes are not tack sharp. So, you know, that's your focal point. Typically, when you're shooting, you make sure you aim that focal point directly at their eyeball, because that's what you want to be the sharpest part of this picture. So, Control J to make a duplicate layer. That layer, you run a high pass sharpen on it. You want to make sure that you can just barely make out the edges. Like right there, you can see her eye coming in focus. And hit OK on that. And then you want to change the blending of this to overlay, and it sharpens it. You can see like a before and after. Don't want to go too much, or you're going to get a real pixelated look. And what I like to do is put a mask on that and invert it so I can just paint it on exactly where I want it. I don't want the whole image to be sharpened to that degree. So brush tool, go ahead and increase the flow on that so it does it fast. Just brush it on. It's subtle. You don't want it to be extreme, but you can see it just sharpens it just a little. While we're at it, we're going to take that yellow cast off of her teeth. Go to the sponge, make sure it's on desaturate. So you're not doing anything other than taking color out. So you're just removing some of that yellow. Now another fun thing you can do is do a sharpening layer and just paint it on the eyeballs. That looks really good. So Control J to make another duplicate layer. Filter, go to Smart Sharpen. You're going to love this. Let's look at her eyeball. Okay. Now, that's really way sharper than we want, but we're going to paint it on gradually, however sharp we want it. So it's doing this layer right here is going to be a super sharp layer. So I'm going to put a mask on that. Control I to invert that mask. And then we're just going to paint it on her eyeballs. Small brush, brush tool over here. Small brush. And we want to go way gradual. Right here I have it at 26%. My opacity is set at 100%, but I'll bring the flow down to about 4%. And so we've got black, so we've got our white brush. And just paint that on that eyeball. It's going to make those eyes just pop. Don't go overboard or they start to look like aliens. Pull back. See, before and after. It's subtle. It just looks really pretty. And a final sharpen. I just run a large sharp action on the whole thing. It's a super subtle high pass sharpen layer. Pull out. See how we feel about it? We can do a snapshot so we can look at the before and after. Here's the before. Here's the after. Before. After. That's it.